Etsy here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. For today's video, I have my online income report. All of the money that I was paid in December for my side hustle here, that is my YouTube channel, as well as my Etsy shop. Everything that came in, I've got it here. We're going to talk about what I earned, what we're going to do with this money. So, if that's something you're interested in, keep right on watching. Just so you guys know, I am filming things a little bit differently than I usually do. I have set up a different camera than the one I typically film on, trying to test out the quality of this camera to see how I like it. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments section, what do you guys think of the quality, the sound, the lighting, all of that. It's just kind of an experiment. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to what I was doing before, but in an effort to try to improve things, I'm trying something a little bit different. So, with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's just go ahead and get started talking about all of the income that came in December. It was a pretty good month for me. I've got, a little bit more to work with this month than is typical, I think, and I think that that's, pretty standard this time of year with advertisers paying more for, YouTube. Towards the end of November, my revenue definitely started going up because, advertisers are paying more this time of year with the holidays. So because of that, my YouTube paycheck was a little bit higher than usual. Plus, we do have an extra Etsy paycheck in here. When I filmed my November video, all of my income for November hadn't quite come in, so we're actually dealing with the last paycheck of November from Etsy, as well as everything I earned in December. So it's a little bit inflated because of that as well. So let's just go ahead and start totaling things up so I can tell you guys how much I earned. I'm so excited. So I have my income tracking worksheet here. This is available in my Etsy shop. It's what I've been using to keep track of all of my side hustle income, and it's been working out just fine for me, so that's what I'm going to continue to use in the new year. I also have my little budget business binder here. This is from Budgets on the Beach. I will link her Etsy shop down below. And then of course I have my cash. The calculator I'm using is from Lowcock. You guys have seen my clicky calculator before. Some of you love it, some of you hate it. I love it, so we're going to go on with it. So for that last paycheck from Etsy in November, the amount that I earned was $40.05. So technically, this money should have been lumped in with my November income, but because I filmed that video essentially before the last payday of the month from Etsy, I'm just going to count it as December income because I need to make sure that I withhold taxes for that, and I don't want it to get lost. So that's what we're doing. So December, like I said, is a little bit artificially inflated, but that paycheck was $40.05. My second paycheck of the month from Etsy was on 12/7. So that amount was $66.45. It was a really great week. Thank you all for those of you who have shopped my Etsy shop. I really appreciate it. From Etsy, we also made 41 cents on the 14th. We made $47.49 on the 21st. And lastly, $16.62 on the 28th. So from Etsy, in total, we have $171.02. And then from YouTube, the amount that I brought in was $506.06. So the way that YouTube pays out is through Google AdSense. I get paid for all of the ads that display on my videos, both at the start of the video and throughout the video. So if you are watching those ads, know that you are contributing to this paycheck here, and I really appreciate it. As I mentioned, because of the holiday, this number is a little bit more inflated. My views were not any higher in November, and that's the other thing I should say, this 50606 was money that I earned in November. The way that Google AdSense pays out is they pay you on a month delay. So the money that I earned in November got paid out in December. And my views were no higher in November. In fact, they were a little bit lower, but because advertisers are paying more, you know, after Thanksgiving with the upcoming Christmas holiday, I ended up making more than usual. So 50606 was my YouTube paycheck. As I said, it's technically Google AdSense that pays, but I get paid because of YouTube, so that's how I track it. So with that 50606, I made a grand total. Oh, that is not right. Let me add this up again. So 4005 plus 6645. And let's actually do the running total here. That'll make it a little bit easier. So is 106.50 plus the 41 cents is 106.91 plus the 47.49 is 154.40 plus the 50606 is 660.46 plus the 1662. Okay, so 677.08 was right. That means that the number that I calculated ahead of time was wrong, and it was much lower, so I guess that's a good thing. So the total amount of income I brought in that we're budgeting today is $677.08. That's all the money from Etsy. That's all the money from YouTube. But I don't get to keep that money because I need to set aside money for taxes. So the way that I have been doing it throughout 2021 is I've just been adding up all of the income and taking 30% of it and putting it into an envelope to save for taxes. Now, technically, you're only supposed to have to pay taxes on your income minus your expenses, and I haven't really been doing a good job of like subtracting out expenses and figuring out how much I've spent for my small business. That's something that I really want to get better at for 2022. But for now, we're just going to take 30% of this $677.08 and we're going to set it aside for taxes. So the way that I figure that out is I type in that $667.08 and multiply it by 0.3. That means $200.12 needs to go to taxes. I'm just going to round this down. Usually I round up, but I know for sure I've set aside enough for taxes. In fact, because my husband and I file jointly, his withholdings most likely will cover anything that I actually owe. So in the end, it's not likely I'll even have to pay anything out. It'll just come out of his withholdings and we'll get a smaller tax refund. But, you know, just in case, the last thing I want to do is mess with the IRS, so I continue to set aside the money, even if I don't necessarily think I will need it. If, when I file my taxes, it turns out I don't need to pay this money, I will then just either reinvest it in the business or I'll use it to pay debt or, you know, whatever. So I'm going to set aside $200 for taxes. So that is the long and the short of it. So I'm going to actually flip to my monthly budget here. This is another worksheet that's available in my Etsy shop. The way that I handle my business budget is I collect all of the money throughout the month that I earn and I just stick it into a checking account. I don't touch it, and then I budget it kind of all at once. So that's why I'm using this monthly budget worksheet. In 2022, I'll be doing things differently, as I mentioned, but for now, we're just wrapping up 2021. So really quickly, I'm going to write in my income sources are Etsy and YouTube. And because I messed up the math on my rough draft here, I need to really quickly go in and just add up the totals, how much I earned for Etsy, how much I earned for YouTube. I just like to have it written down that way, so give me just a second to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so while I was off camera, I double checked all my numbers just to make sure that everything was right and I wasn't dealing with any misinformation. So I'm not actually going to fill in the estimated amount because I already know exactly how much I'm working with. That's the beauty of doing this kind of once a month after all the money's come in. I don't have to worry about estimating. So the amount that I brought in from Etsy was $171.02, and the amount that I brought in from YouTube was $506.06, for a grand total then of that $677.08. Now, usually what I do is I kind of count up all of my expenses, figure out exactly what I spent, and I take that money off the top. I take the money off the top for taxes, and then anything left I give to myself as my take-home pay, my income. My expenses are a hot mess right now. I need to go in and do a bunch of math calculations and print out receipts and kind of get things ready for taxes. Like I said, in 2022, I intend to be so much better about keeping track of everything and organizing things and, you know, printing out receipts and everything as I go. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the taxes, and I'm just going to give the rest that's left to myself as my sort of take-home pay, knowing that any of those business expenses went on my personal credit card, and I'm going to use that money to pay that off. So I don't need to do the math ahead of time to figure out exactly what I spent. In 2022 it'll be better, but for now this is how we're going to do it. So I'm going to take the 30% in taxes, and then whatever's left I'm going to give to myself for take-home pay. Even though it's not really going to be take-home pay, it's going to go to paying that debt. So just for the sake of, you know, getting everything done, getting this video filmed, and wrapping up the end of the year. So $667.08 times that 0.3 we said was $200. So I'm going to put aside $200 for taxes, and that's going to mean then that of that $667.08 minus $200, that's going to give me $477.08 for take-home pay, for a grand total of $667.08. So that is what I'm going to do. I went to the bank and I pulled out the cash. Okay, so it's actually a little bit later. Remember when I told you guys that when I wrote my rough draft out, I had written the wrong amount? I had gotten the math wrong. Well, when I went to the bank and took out the cash, I had gone by that rough draft, and I actually hadn't pulled out enough. So I had to kind of switch some things around to make sure I had enough cash for all of this. So once I kind of figured that out, I stopped filming. I regrouped and refigured everything out. And now I'm back. So it was only a second for you, but for me it's been about an hour. But the amount that I should have in cash is $677.08, right? The amount that I actually have is $680. I just rounded up because I didn't want to deal with change, and I wanted to just use the cash I had on hand and not have to go back to the bank. So I have $680 here, which is fine because I really only need the $200 in cash. The rest is just going to go, you know, back into the pot for paying bills or paying debt or putting money into sinking funds. So it doesn't matter that I don't have exactly, you know, see, look here, I wrote 677 here and 667 here. Is it any wonder that I'm a mess with this budget thing? You guys, I am so ready for a fresh start in 2022. I don't know about you guys. And I cannot find my whiteout. Oh, here it is. Okay. So yeah, this whole thing is a hot mess. I should just scrap it and start the entire video over, but that's not realistic. This is what real life budgeting looks like. You make mistakes sometimes. Luckily, I filmed this video and I was able to catch my error. So I should have $680 here. Lord help me if I don't. So let's count it. 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40, 60, 80, 2, 20, 40, 60, 80, 3, 20, 40, 60, 80, 4, 20, 40, 60, 80, 5, 20, 40, 60, 80, 6, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80. Okay, so I do have 680. So of that 680, I know that I'm going to put $200 away for taxes. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200. The rest of this I'm going to just set off to the side. I can use this when I'm, working with the money that I need to put into my sinking funds, which will be an upcoming video. I'm going to be doing a total sinking fund refresh, changing things up for the new year, so be on the lookout for that. But for now, I'm going to put $200 into my taxes envelope, which is right here. This is all of the money I have saved for taxes for 2021 because I don't earn enough to pay quarterly taxes. I've just been saving it up throughout the year so that I have it. So the amount I'm putting in here is $200 for a total of $1,810. So that's 30% of everything that I have earned in 2021. So you can imagine it hasn't been like a stellar year for my business, but it's the most money I've ever made in one year before. So we're moving up. So I'm going to go ahead and add this $200 in here, and I'm going to count this up and make sure that I do have the $1,810 I should have, so that I can set this aside for when I file taxes. So we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 100, 50, 200, 50, 300, 50, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80. I just lost count. This video, I swear. Okay, let's try it again. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. 100, 200, 300, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, 20, 40, 60, 80, 600, 20, 40, 60, 80, 700, 20, 40, 60, 80, 800, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I do indeed have 1,810. So I can just set this aside for when we go and file our taxes so that if I need it, I have it. Just so exciting. And like I said, everything else we're going to put into the pot for working with in January. So that's the way that I'm going to do it. Oops, I forgot to put this guy in here. That's the way I'm going to do it from now on. I'm going to continue to save up my income throughout the month. At the end of the month, I'm going to count it up. I'm going to set aside taxes, and then I'm going to take whatever I have left, whatever I have earned for my take-home pay. I'm going to put it into the pot, and it's going to be budgeted at the beginning of the following month. So the money that I earned in December, after I paid the taxes, I'm going to take what's left, and that is going to be budgeted in January at the beginning of the month. So that's the way I'm going to try to do it in 2022. I might change my mind. That's the beauty of personal finance. It's personal. You can change your mind. You can change things up. So yeah, that is my business budget for the final month of the year. I'm so excited to be closing this chapter and moving on to 2022. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you're excited for a fresh start in 2022 as well. Alright friends, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was a bit of a hot mess. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I'd love to have you come back, and I'll see you guys then. Bye!